If you ask supermarket shoppers what they like least about shopping, they'll probably put slow checkout lines right at the top of the list. Tonight, in part 2 of his series on the supermarket of the future, David Horowitz takes a look at what computer technology is going to do to speed up those supermarket lines. David.
That's right, and everyone, I don't know anyone who doesn't hate the supermarket
You're
lines.
right.
But anyway, Kelly John, scanners that read product codes and prices have already done a lot to speed up checkouts at the supermarket cash register. But paying by check and getting the check approved is still a tedious, time-consuming process. But if you can bank by card, why not pay for your groceries by card? It's called the debit card. Though now in very limited use in the states of California, Florida, and Maryland, it was pioneered in the state of Iowa. Hy-Vee food stores like this one in Des Moines were the first to try it, and the experiment has worked.
Just briefly, what happens, the customer buys their groceries as they normally would, the cashier rings them up as normal, and when it comes to that point where the cashier tells the customer how much it is, the customer says, well, I want to use my bank card. Once that happens, then the customer simply puts their card with the magnetic stripe on it through the reader, punches in their 4-digit security number, and hits the enter button, and that sends the transaction on through the banking channels. It's over. It's just that quick. Takes 5-6 seconds, usually at the most. When the minute goes through, the customer is taken out of the customer's account and put into our account.
5 to 6 seconds and you are on your way. But it's obvious that if you're the type that enjoys the float, a person who writes a check on Friday and deposits the money to cover it on Monday, the debit card is not for you.
Well, I believe that most customers, by and large, the vast majority of customers, don't utilize the float. Certainly there's a lot of conversation about that, and I suppose there are a percentage of the customer base that does utilize float. However, the existence of float today is not as great a factor as it was a number of years ago because of improved collection techniques in the banking system.
Why do you use a debit card?
Primarily because I have a 1-year-old baby, and it's just a lot less hassle than writing a check.
How do you feel, though, about the money coming directly out of your account?
I like it better that way, that I have more control over what I'm spending, because it comes right out. I can't go spend it someplace else, and it helps me set my priorities.
Do you have cases where the customer does not have enough money in that checking or savings account to pay for their grocery, and they do have a debit card?
I only know 2 cases where that has happened in almost 4 years' time. Most people have a pretty fair idea of what they have in there, or if they don't, we find a lot of them use the automatic teller machine that we also have in the store to check their balance before they get the check stand to find out whether they have enough to take care of it or not.
If the debit card is the wave of the future, is it possible the day will come when all bank transactions will be right at the point of sale?
As more people become used to the debit card and see the advantages of it, I think it will continue to grow and grow substantially. The results of the Iowa experiment have proven that over the past several years, and volume is increasing at very rapid levels today. I would hasten to add, however, that the day of the checkless or even cashless society is a long way off.
Those bank card terminals that I went to Des Moines to examine may look expensive, but they pay for themselves. They save the time spent processing customers' checks, and of course they reduce the number of bad checks that are passed at the check stand. Bad check losses amount to hundreds of millions of dollars every year in supermarkets in this country, and those losses are made up in the higher food prices that we all pay. But the markets are fighting back against the bad check passers and against shoplifters. I'll show you how tomorrow night here on News 4LA, both at 4 and at 6. See you then.
Okay.
You don't have to worry. You don't pass bad checks.
No, not this week. Thank you, David.
And we don't read the Inquirer in the checkout line either.
Okay.
No. Thank you very much, David. Coming up, Kevin has got the Olympic weather forecast. Will the sun continue to shine on our games? He'll tell us.
Yep.
Yep.